Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Math 20-1, Chapter 3.5, Solving Quadratic Equations with the Discriminant. Now, recall the quadratic equation, x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Last lesson. That solves every quadratic equation. However, this is a very old equation that predates graphing calculators, calculators. Now, before we had calculators, the discriminant, and I'm going to say this once nicely, b squared minus 4ac is important. Okay? Now, why is it important? Well, I'll show you in just a moment, but remember this, b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant. Now, let's do an example. What is the discriminant for x squared minus 8x minus 20? Well, b squared minus 4ac is what? Minus 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 20. That's 64 plus 24, 6, 80. That's 144. Now, what can we say about 144? It's a number, but remember, what's the discriminant? We're looking at the square root of it. The square root of 144 is 12, which is a nice number. Actually, let me phrase that. What I mean to say is that a better way to say that is 144 is 12 squared, which is a nice number. So in that equation, it's going to be plus or minus 12, which makes it something fairly easy to calculate. As a matter of fact, we could probably just cheat and use the rectangle to solve this. Okay? Now, so if it's a nice number like that, we can solve. What is the discriminant for 2x squared plus 5x minus 6? Once again, b squared is 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 6. 48. 73. The square root of 73, it's not a nice number. What I mean by that, the answer is going to be minus 5 plus or minus the square root of 73 over 2 times 8, 2 times 2. It's going to be some fraction or decimal. There's no way you can guess this. There's no way you can use the rectangle to solve. You have to use the quadratic equation or complete the square. So what I'm trying to say is the discriminant is a cheating shortcut. If it's a nice number like this 12 squared or 10 squared or 5 squared, then you can cheat and probably use the rectangle, not have to do all the work for the quadratic equation. If it's not a nice number like a decimal or fraction, then yeah, you're going to have to use the quadratic equation. You have to do the extra work, which sucks. All right? Now, what about x squared plus 6x minus 9? What's the discriminant for this? Well, that's going to be 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 9, which is 36. Oh, sorry, plus 9. My apologies. That's supposed to be plus 9. God help me. Plus 9. Minus 36. I'm sorry. X squared plus 6x plus 9. That becomes 36 minus 36, which is 0. So the discriminant here is 0. That means it's going to be, whatever your answer is, it's going to be minus 6 plus or minus 0 over 1, or one answer. So if the discriminant is 0, it's one answer, and you can probably solve it with the rectangle. You don't have to do the quadratic equation. Okay? Now the last example here, what's the discriminant? B squared minus 4 times 2 times 5, 16 minus 20 minus 4. You cannot take the square root of minus 4, so there's no solution. Okay? Now, so if the discriminant is negative, there's no solution. If the discriminant is 0, there's one solution. If the discriminant is positive, there's two solutions. Now, let's try summarizing this. Now, notice I'm saying how many roots, solutions, or answers do we have here? Now, I'm supposed to say roots or solutions, but I might say answers. Forgive me, getting old. Now, what's the discriminant in the first one? Actually, let's pause the recording. We'll come back and check our answers. Okay, so pause the recording. Tell me the number. Tell me what the discriminant is, and then we'll talk about it. Welcome back. I found the 4 discriminants. For the first one, the discriminant is 8. Now, what's the square root of 8? 2 something, which means it's not a nice number, which means 2 solutions. Let's use the quadratic formula. Excuse me. The second one, remember, has to equal 0, so subtract 2 from both sides, is minus 47, which means no solutions. Cannot take the square root of a negative number. The third one, once you make it equal to 0, you get the discriminant to 0, which means it has one solution. And you can probably use the box or rectangle to factor it. The last one, 49, which is a very nice number, which means 2 solutions. It's positive, so there's 2 solutions. And you can probably factor it using the rectangle. Don't need the quadratic equation, if you can remember that. But the more important question is how many solutions? 2, 1, or none. Okay? That's fairly, I would like to think that's fairly straightforward. So how am I going to be a poopy head and challenge you? Well, glad you asked. Come on, next page. Standard trick, solve for the variable. For the quadratic, x squared plus 8x plus k, what is k if there's only one solution? Now note, one solution means the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac equals 0. So what's the discriminant here? A, B, C. So 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times k equals 0. 64 minus 4k is equal to 0. 64 equals 4k. Add 4k to both sides. Divide by 4. And k equals 16. Okay? So, x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 0 has one solution. That's it. Okay? So solving for the variable. Now, how else could I ask the question? X squared plus 8x plus k. What is k if there's 2 solutions? 2 solutions, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. And for the quadratic, x squared plus 8x plus k, what is k if there's no solution? That is, b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Now, I'll do the second one with you. What is k if there are 2 solutions? And you can do the last one by yourself. So, pause the recording. We'll come back and look at this, okay? So, 8 squared minus 4k. 64 is greater than 4k. K is less than 16, so x squared plus 8x plus 10 works. Okay? Now, I'm willing to bet a great deal of money that the exact opposite, for no solutions, 16, k is greater than 16. You guys can prove it. Now, be careful here. If you end up going minus 4k is greater than minus 64, divide both sides by minus 4. I should color code that. As I said, if you solve it a different way, what happens when you divide by a negative number? Well, you end up with k. The greedy fish changes direction. Okay, remember that. Okay, so I think for the last one, k is greater than 16, like 20. There's no solution. Now you guys check that, but that's it for me. Actually, there's one more. Actually, let's do this. Actually, let's pause the recording, come back and check your work, okay? For the quadratic, 2x squared plus kx plus 7, what is k if there's only one solution? Okay, welcome back. That equals 0. K squared minus 4 times 2 times 7 equals 0. K squared minus 56 is equal to 0. K squared is 56. K is plus or minus the square root of 56. So there's two solutions there. K is plus 56 and K is minus 56. Now, there should be two solutions. And actually in the next chapter, we'll prove that or disprove it. But for the moment, can you solve it for me? K is plus or minus the square root of 56. That's what I need you to be able to do. All right, so that's it for this lesson. Good luck. I want you to, if you're having trouble with this, review it again, watch the tape again, and then go do the check your understanding questions. Okay? Good luck.